Okay.
Did I jump the gun on you, buddy?
No, you didn't. You didn't. I just don't know. This is the longest we've gone without recording, and even though it's only a week and a half.
Not ever.
No, not
in
ever.
A while.
But in 3 months at least.
Right.
Say. So
You been on vacation?
I have been on vacation.
What are we drinking tonight?
So
Special.
we are drinking a Moonshine,
Ah.
homemade, not bought.
Proper moonshine.
Stores. Proper Moonshine. I have not tasted it. I know this came out of the still at 170 proof.
All right.
And then it was cut down a little bit and run through strawberries. And it's down around 125 to 130.
Okay, so it's still stout.
Still very, that's probably the most stout thing we've had on here yet.
Okay.
So, but it's legit Moonshine.
That's beautiful.
So,
Proper mason jar and all.
yeah. So.
And we're chasing it with Big K Cola.
Yeah, with Kroger Coke.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. I don't know what this is going to be like. You know, that's pretty smooth.
That's pretty delightful.
That's actually, yeah.
That gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
the strawberry flavor is very subtle in a good way.
Very subtle, yes. So that is, I'll tell you.
Are we sure it's not poison yet?
Yeah. Well, I drank some other batches that he had.
but
I drank some other batches that he had.
because that's the thing about moonshine, right? If it's made wrong, that shit'll fucking
it can
basically
make you
ice
go
and
blind.
purple.
Yeah, sure. So
So can masturbation, and it hasn't
we'll see.
gotten me yet.
I'm pretty sure he sampled it just to make sure
Oh,
it was
probably.
okay. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I'm impressed. He has
Yeah. So the only thing
the respect I used to
so
have for you just went to him.
he doesn't say he doesn't sell any of it right now because he's not running it through a proper copper still,
Right.
like not copper lines or whatever, but still.
Is it a PVC still?
No. I
I'm
think it's
joking.
stainless.
Can you
all
do? I
stainless
don't think
stuff.
you could do a PVC still. Maybe you can.
Probably. I don't know. I would think
Are
that the heat.
are those things? Are they like a bong? You can really make them out of anything if you're creative enough.
Probably. I don't know. I know you could make one up in a pressure cooker at home, like in your kitchen, but I mean, you're just asking to blow your kitchen up in a pressure
It does
cooker.
have a weirdly plasticky smell.
Huh. Interesting.
Get your nose in there. Take a whiff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It could be the glass, though.
It could be. I don't know. It's good. So
Yeah, that is
before we kick into, I want to hear about the vacation. I have questions.
Yep.
But we've been partnered. I say pseudo partnered with FNX
Yep.
Phoenix Fit.
Yep.
I'm saying fuck those guys. I'm done with them.
Why? What happened now?
Nothing. They send us emails. They're just disorganized. Like, oh, you can still get your 50% off and join the partnership. It's like, well, God damn it, we already did. And they say, oh, you get 25% off for whatever. By being a partner. They offer 25% off all the goddamn time on all their products.
You know, I will say this though. I washed that hat, the gray one I've got. It's somewhere in the house.
Is it better?
It is. It's much better. And I wore it in the
And I'm not
ocean
saying their
and
products aren't good.
everything,
Like
yeah.
I liked the stuff that I've tried, but as a partnership, I don't like pushing them anymore.
I think what the problem is that I've ordered off of my personal email address.
So have I.
And and we've done something off of our. Your initial order, did that come from our?
I don't fucking know.
I think that could be the issue is that we've had 3 things going on. You with your personal, me with my personal, and then
Maybe.
the podcast email.
So
I think that
So should we order with the podcast email? And
I think
see?
if we're going to order, we should order with that.
So
from
I
now
might give
on.
them another chance then.
I think that may be
Because
the-
I was
the
getting
issue,
pissy
but-
with the emails that we get a lot. Hey, we're looking forward to partnering with you. I was like, bitch, we have a fucking...
Right.
That was the thing, is we got the thing that said, hey, you still have a chance to join, blah, blah. I was like, we already have a portal. How do you not see we have a portal?
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, that was my... That was my
Still.
thing. I brought my hat just so I could throw it on camera. So we can keep them. If you do, you can use our code for 15% off. Or is
Yeah.
it 10% off?
It's 15%.
B3F Pod.
Yep, B3FPOD.
Phoenix Fit. And they do have some pretty good shit. I mean, what I've tried.
Yeah, especially if you're into like vegan or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
they're
they have a
just
lot of
they
vegan
just
stuff.
don't really care about their partners.
Yeah, I will say this though, because we're in one of their groups online, and
yeah?
all of their other ambassadors.
They're all very good-looking people.
Well, it's not just but no, it's not just that. It's they post and tag them all the time, and I
Right.
think we barely meet the minimum.
Well, if I start going to the gym again, I might. But right now, like, what am I going to sit like with like a fucking bowl of Fruity Pebbles on my stomach and my Phoenix Fit hat and be like, yeah, Phoenix Fit. This shit's
I
awesome.
started to take a picture while I was in Florida with the hat on and whatever, but I had a beer in my hand and a cigar in my hand. I was like, they may not like that.
It's branded content.
Sure.
It's a different demographic. Fat people that buy that shit to feel like they're gonna get fit.
Oh God.
Yeah. So vacation. How was it?
Yeah. So I got back a few hours ago.
You did?
I went Saturday to Saturday.
You tried to move the podcast to a different night because you're tired.
No, I just said if this is going to be too late, because this is the latest we've started in a while,
Yeah.
too. But if this is going to be too late, we can do it tomorrow or whatever. Because I was tired and ill because the dogs got out as soon as we got home, so I had to chase the dogs through the neighborhood. I was fucking pissed about that.
Right.
And then
Who let the dogs out?
somebody else did. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Woof woof.
Yeah, I got you.
The last two are for emphasis.
God.
Ignorant slut.
Yeah.
Oh God. So I gotta make a little note here of something else to talk to you about. So we drove I think because it took us through Atlanta.
Is that Ricky and Morty?
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I was thinking of Morty and I added that Y. Yes, it's I Love Lucy spinoff.
Hey, Lucy.
Morty, you got some splaining to do. Oh God, yeah. So for whatever reason, GPS routed us through Atlanta today.
Oh, my
and
God.
I fucking hate Atlanta. It was miserable driving through there. So spent an extra hour and a half to 2 hours on the road that I wouldn't have normally had to spend on the
Which you
road.
love
So,
anyway.
God. It was roughly 8 hours to get there because when we stopped to get gas, we ate and we just basically stood around the cars and ate instead of gas, food, and go.
Out of all the places that I've driven, different areas of the world, or I should say world, of the country. How about that? Atlanta is my least favorite. It's worse than LA.
Yeah, Atlanta's awful, but Chattanooga's bad. It's not as bad as Atlanta.
Well, I'm not
but
talking about
it's
necessarily
bad.
just the degree of traffic, but also the country of the people driving.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I had a gun pulled on me in Atlanta driving through there one time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, the guy was a fucking cop.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I blew him a kiss.
Wasn't a cop though, was it?
Fuck, I don't know.
Atlanta had a
They might now be
shooting last night.
Yeah.
Cop.
I saw that. Yeah.
Shot a black man
In the back?
Yeah.
In the back.
I
mean, he ran, but they shot him in the back.
So what we were reading on the way home was he was asleep in the car in the drive-through.
Right. Obviously drunk.
Sure. And
Police
police.
were really tired.
Right. Probably me. Or somebody in my family stopping on the way home. No. So there was a scuffle. He took
a taser.
What looked like a taser. All I've read so far and heard so far is that it looked in the video. It looks like a taser.
Well, I thought he took one from a cop, like while they were
Yes.
wrestling. Yeah.
And he took off, and then when he got a few parking places away from him, he turned and aimed it at them over his shoulder, and then he turned to run, and the cop drew his service revolver, which was odd.
Yeah.
And shot the
hairy.
guy and killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what the police chief resigned.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And the mayor and police chief maybe are calling for the firing of that cop. I think
I saw
may need to
a
have little
funny
more than
tweet the other
firing
day.
go
He was
down.
like, people said there's no problem with the police or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. He said, but notice you never heard a song called Fuck the Fire Department.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck the police.
Yeah.
Marry the firemen. Kill the paramedics.
That was a good meme. I was happy with that post you made.
Yeah. So, vacation.
Yeah.
We drove down. We left here at 6:30 Saturday morning, knowing that we were going to get there a few hours before we could check in. But I'd rather do that and bypass traffic in Chattanooga, which is what we did. So,
Which, by the way, we don't have to worry about any filler content because this goddamn vacation story will take the whole 2 hours of
yes,
the podcast.
it will. Yes, it will. So we took two different cars. My brother and his girlfriend and one of the kids took my car, and then me and the wife and my son took my wife's car, and then my daughter flew down on Sunday evening. And then one of her friends kept the dogs all week. So, it rained the first half
This
of the
is
week.
a good start.
Yeah. It rained the first half of the week, and when it wasn't raining, it was double red flags because of Tropical Storm Cristobal off the coast.
They're running out of names.
Yeah. My brother-in-law thought it was Crystal Ball, and we had to correct him on that.
That's like growing up your whole life and thinking chest of drawers are called Chester drawers, and nobody corrects you until you're like 25. You're like, oh fuck, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's because most people in the South say Chester drawers.
Yeah.
But they mean chest of drawers. But regardless.
Yeah. And I was also in my 20s before I realized that not many people say britches.
No, really, you don't think so?
No, not outside of the South.
I don't say britches. I say jeans.
I know, but if you're somebody, hey man, you tore your britches, people are gonna be, what the fuck are britches?
The first time I saw britches spelled in a book or something, I was like, the fuck is breeches? Anyway, I guess some people say breeches.
Breeches.
Anyway.
You got leeches in your breeches.
Yeah, Tropical Storm Cristobal fucked the beach up for the first few days. They wouldn't let you get out in there, but oddly enough, if you had a surfboard, you were allowed to go out into the water as deep as you want.
For sure.
For me, it's like, if you're an adult, you should be allowed to go out there.
Well,
if you
you
want
can.
to.
What are they going to do?
Oh no, they'll call the whatever it's called, beach patrol or whatever, and they'll remove you from the beach.
You have to keep swimming. Swim away.
No, and when
you got to swim fast.
When they finally went from a double red flag to a single red flag, the Matthew and Livy went out in there and evidently went out deeper than the lifeguards wanted them, and they blew the whistle on them or whatever, and they came back and I said, "You guys are adults. You should know by now that if you hear the lifeguard whistle, don't turn and look at the lifeguard, because if you don't make eye contact with them, they can't tell you to come back in.
Right.
If anything, you're going to make them come out to you."
Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't understand. Why do lifeguards have authority? Their job is to guard life, not to tell you what the fuck to do.
Well, it's because they don't want to have to guard life any worse. No, I'm not saying that they're justified in it, but that's it. That's
Like, what
why.
if you have on water wings? Can they fucking stop you then?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you, I can get on my back with water wings on my arms, and I can fucking kick my legs faster than they can catch up with me without a jet ski.
Yeah. So the first day that where it was sunny enough to go to the beach for a little bit of time, it was still double red flag. I asked the lifeguard, said, "So can't get in there at all?" He's like, "Ankle deep." And I said, "Okay. What about all the
Bitch, I got big ankles.
Yeah, I did at the time. We'll get into that in a minute. I said, "So what about all those people out there in surfboards?" And he said, "As long as you have a surfboard, you can go out there as deep as you want." That's exactly how he talked.
He had to talk
And
like
part of me felt a little bad for him, because anytime there's an adult that still has that problem with their R's, I feel a little bit bad for them, because if they have friends like I have.
See, I don't. And I tell you why. At that age, there are many options you can
Well, the public
take to
school
learn.
system and their parents failed them.
They
'Cause there
did.
should have been some speech
But as an
class.
adult, if I still not saying my O's correctly, then I'm going to be like, fuck, these people are making, I'm going to go and like take some therapy myself or get some online help,
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. But
Or maybe he's just cool with it. It's like talking to people that talk like this all the time. Have you ever actually talked to somebody in person that has that
yes,
lisp?
yes.
I went to get a car worked on when I was living in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
We know somebody with that problem.
Yeah. And the guy was like, "Hey, sir, it's going to be about $24.95 to get your oil changed." And I was just like, "Oh, fuck it. I
Jesus.
can't." I was nice, but it was very hard for me.
Well, I was nice to him as well, because I felt a little bit felt sorry for him. But
I wonder if somebody had that lisp
I-
and had a problem with their R's.
it's seriously, seriously dangerous waves.
Get swept out to sea.
So I noticed though that he's sitting in his little lifeguard tower, and he doesn't have his lifeguard float on him.
Right.
It's hooked around it. So if anyone was struggling, he was going to have to climb down, unhook it, and then put it around him and go out there.
Right.
But so to me that says he's not that concerned. He's not that concerned about the waves. So anyway,
It feels good to make fun of people again. It's been a while.
Yes, it does, because we recorded last on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then we're gone through the normal day. But
Look,
anyway.
hold on. Before I get to, did I tell you about the guy I was in the Coast Guard with that had the really bad stutter?
Maybe.
Like he had a severe, like his name was Jack. He'd be like, I'm Jack, like it's like almost handicap level. Well, I was talking to him one day, and he was like, "Oh no, I went to speech therapy. I've gotten over my stutter." He goes, "It just takes a lot of work, so I'd rather not." Because everybody used to really make fun of him, and I was like, "You guys are dicks if you can't help it. He has a stutter." And then I found out he could not
my
stutter,
God.
and I was like, "Well then, fuck you, man.
Right.
Fuck you."
Oh God.
Continue.
No, that's fine. So Monday I was living my best life in the pool, floating around on the T-Rex float with a cigar and beer in my hand
Right.
for a few hours, and I had put sunscreen on. I didn't put it on my feet. I don't know why. I just didn't.
Right.
But my shins and my feet got burned pretty bad, to the extent that Tuesday I woke up, my feet were swollen. I'm pretty sure I had sun poisoning. So at that point, with sun poisoning, you have to make sure you're taking enough fluids because there's a threat of dehydration or whatever.
Right.
Which, beer. But I played 9 holes on a par 3 course Monday evening, and that just exacerbated the situation because walking around that much in socks and shoes, it was rough, which kept me from having to go play on Thursday, which I was looking forward to playing, but as hot as it was, I'm kind of glad I didn't go walk around that course and play. Yeah, obs. Oh, brevs. Oh, God.
Come on, bro.
So, Brew. That's my new favorite one for bruh. Brew.
I haven't heard
There's
Brew.
a couple of guys from on one of the reality shows that I was a guilty pleasure of mine. One was from South Africa, another one was from New Zealand or something, and that's what they call each other Brew. BRU with the umlauts over the U. Brew.
Oh, okay.
Brew. It's all brew. Brew everything.
That's
brew.
cultural appropriation.
Well, they're white, so it's fine.
I guess so.
Yeah. So anyway,
I really think we should take more opportunities to use the word umlauts.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
You first.
Well, I just did.
So did a lot of drinking this week, especially beer during the day. Mm-hmm. At one point, I was the first one to open a beer, and Will, of all people, was like, "Ugh, I don't know. It's just a little early for me. I don't like to drink before."
What time was it?
10:30, 11.
That's not too early.
No, I don't think so either on vacation.
I don't feel like there's any
If
time
you're
that's
doing
too-
it daily, then maybe there's an issue.
What if it's just one? Like, what if you just like to wake up in the morning with a little fucking shotty
then you
shot?
probably have a problem.
No, what if you don't drink any other time?
Okay.
No other time. You just wake up
It's
in the morning.
still if you have to have that shot in the morning.
You have to. What if it's like your morning cup of coffee? Some people like to get up
Right,
and
I'm
have their
fine with
coffee
that.
every day.
I'm fine. If you have an Irish, I'm fine with that.
I'm not
I don't
even,
have a
no,
problem
I'm
with
not
it
even talking
at
about
all.
having it with coffee. I'm talking about in
No,
lieu of coffee.
I know what you're saying.
You wake up and fucking take a good old shot of Jose before you start your day.
Ooh, I have a problem if you're shooting Jose first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. But it's odd when Will is the one that says, "It's too early for me to be drinking right now," which he quit smoking right before the trip as well.
Oh, wow.
Now he was dipping Copenhagen like he owned stock in it, but But anyway, and smoking weed, of course.
Well, of course.
But he wouldn't even smoke cigars. Like, I'm afraid it's too close to cigarettes and it'll get me started again. So it's fine, whatever. But I smoked a lot of cigars and drank a lot of beer and some picklebacks, a couple of different nights, tequila shots.
We need to have picklebacks on here. If we ever do
picklebacks.
the shit-faced episode, we need some fucking picklebacks with that shit.
Yeah, pickleback's fine.
Because if we're going to do a shit-face, we've got to pick a booze, and that's the booze we roll with.
if you're going to do picklebacks, you want a shitty bourbon.
Yeah. Or Irish. They go great with fucking JMO.
That's fine. So speaking of, I had an argument with David, my brother, while we were down there, because we were going to do picklebacks
imagine.
one night. Yeah, we were going to do picklebacks one night, and I was like, well, here. And I took the Kavanaugh just hoping that someone would finish some of the liquors we have here that we don't ever really touch. Right. So I took like the Wild Turkey 101 and the Kavanaugh, the Screwball peanut butter whiskey, and some of that stuff. And we're going to do picklebacks. It's like, here, just use the Kavanaugh. It's Irish whiskey. It's cheap Irish whiskey. It'll work. And he was like, yeah, but you really need real whiskey to do a pickleback. And I was like, Woodford Reserve is a bourbon. It's not a whiskey. And he said, no, bourbon, that's a real whiskey. I was like, not the same. He said, it was Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey is not bourbon.
Right.
Bourbon is bourbon. It's a specific way it's made. Tennessee whiskey is made a specific way, but it's not bourbon. Couldn't get him to buy into that or believe it for the life of me.
Fucking Google, bitch.
No, yeah. And
Not
it's
you.
I'm saying it's just not worth the argument for me. I'm like, you're wrong. That's fine.
Right.
And either one, Woodford Reserve bourbon is perfectly fine to do with picklebacks, and so is cheap Irish whiskey. I don't care.
Yeah.
You want to use your whiskey for it, fine.
Yeah.
So
The Tennessee whiskey is not bourbon. You are correct.
It is
the
not
difference
bourbon.
is Tennessee whiskey is filtered through sugar maple. That's one of the steps, and it gives it a distinctive Tennessee whiskey flavor. It's why Jack Daniels tastes like asshole compared to Belle Meade.
Yeah.
Because it's not a bourbon.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Jack Daniels. In a pinch, or if I'm mixing with some shit, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking it straight.
Right. Well, there's several things that is just they're perfectly fine mixed with something, but they're not good on their own.
No.
Anyway,
But David's wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
I know he's wrong. So
He'll also argue, too, probably that there's no difference between the spelling of whiskey with an EY and whiskey with just a Y.
I don't know. I didn't even go into that.
Yeah. Oh, I would have.
Yeah.
I would have picked that scab.
Surprisingly, because I know we talked about this last time, whether this would come up. Surprisingly, no one really in my family brought up any of the protests, Black Lives Matter, or
That was
anything.
that was going to be one of my questions. I'm impressed. I figured it would.
And in general organic conversation, like a couple of us in my family kind of hinted around at things, and like we talked about police departments and things like that, and like my brother-in-law, who I would think would be the one that would say some offensive shit, was like, yeah, the police departments are militarized. They don't need to be military. It's insane. There's way too much authority and way too much power in the police department they need to be knocked down a little bit. It's
nice.
Like, nice. Okay. Nice. And then, but now Gabe, so my oldest, and then my brother David, the three of us got into it. Not an argument at all, but just a conversation, a little bit of healthy debate for like 3 hours one night. Late.
Yeah.
Like, and we're drinking.
Yeah, of course.
And we all mostly agreed on everything, but one of the things I brought up was gun reform. And if you really think that there's going to be a revolution in the near future, you really don't want any more guns being deemed illegal to own, because you're already going to have a problem standing up against the United States military.
Right.
You know, and they just can't buy into that.
That's
they
funny.
just cannot buy into that, you know, quote, assault weapons should be able to be owned or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things.
It's very strange. Well, you know, it's funny. Like, I was telling Amanda this. I'm over it now. I'm over all the shit. And the reason is not that I feel like it's a bad. I still feel like it's the best thing to be standing up for, and people should be protesting. People should be marching. Sure. But it's finally, and I've noticed it really over the last week. It's taken the turn where it's being politicized more and more by both parties to push whatever agenda that they're wanting, which is basically, to me, taking advantage of and fucking over the people that are actually there, which it is changing things, like all these looks at defunding police and all this other shit. And I think it's a good thing. And I've talked to people like fucking Hunter on the internet. They're so caught up in whatever conservative fucking viewpoint or liberal viewpoint they have. Like, you realize the point is not when they say defund the police, it's not to get rid of all law enforcement. It's to redistribute funds and have less of the
in some
militarized.
instances, people are actually wanting the police to be done
Right. Well,
away
that's
with.
the extreme end of it. But as a whole, that's kind of what most places are looking at, is knocking funding out for the militarization and having more specialists and training people in conflict resolution, all that shit. Regardless.
Well, why can't both
I'm tired of
things be right, or at least a little right? Why can't
Yeah.
some of those conservative views that people have be legitimate points, but also
Right.
the other side of the thing be great points as well? Why can't we have
Because that's
both?
because it doesn't
No
fall
one's
into
willing to give
well, it's political.
any.
That's what I'm saying. It's become so
insane.
politicized. And like, another thing I was talking to Amanda about is like, what's ridiculous though is people are like, well, why do they want this police abolishment and defund? I was like, because you realize if shit would have been done sooner, this much of extreme wouldn't fucking be occurring.
Right.
But like, when you let enough anger and piss off at this build up, like, you want the fucking like way more than is needed, because you're fucking fed up. Which, you watch the Dave Chappelle special, fucking unreal good.
Yeah.
Like, the dude is he's a brilliant, brilliant man. Anyways, outside of that, I'm kind of over talking about all the shit all the time. I don't want to give a lot of attention to it unless there's some valid points that come up, but it's getting
Or unless somebody calls in to argue with you.
Right, yeah, for sure. But just as far as our general discussion, because we've said our pieces, people know where we stand. And I'm getting sick of all the propaganda that's now coming into play with all this shit. It's, me, I'm so politically apathetic and I hate all of it so much. I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah. I'll
have discussions offline, talk about shit, but as far as like on this podcast, because I like making fun of shit. I like being an asshole. And there's a lot of stuff with some of this I wouldn't mind making fun of, but I'm kind of holding back for now.
Right. Now's not the time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it.
It's the time for some, just depending on what it is.
Okay. I agree with that.
Like, more of the mockery.
But most everyone else is not going to agree
No.
with that.
Well, my point is, like, not necessarily mockery of the movement, mockery of some of the people that might be involved.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not going to make fun of George Floyd. That's ridiculous.
Right.
But I'll make fun of some fucking news anchor, which, by the way, with all the Seattle shit, Fox News got caught digitally altering video from the autonomous zone that they had there for fucking propaganda shit.
Nice.
And that's the thing, though, because I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Go-getters.
Right. Well, we're getting to the point that because of the political background, things are getting spun and twisted. I don't know if you've noticed over the last week, half of the videos that were there for protests and the police brutality and shit have just fucking, they're gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this shit's not still going. I've seen a couple of shared shit, but I mean, because of that, like, it's just being used at this point, and I got no tolerance.
Yeah,
for that
it's
shit.
interesting. I mean, like you said, Fox News was altering video, but prior to all these protests and stuff with the coronavirus things, like your left-leaning news stuff were altering things, and like the photo that came out of like Laguna Beach or whatever, and people were just up in arms about what are we going to do about all these people at the beach? And then you come to find out, it was shot with a lens that condenses that pushes everybody in and makes everyone look closer together. When the actual photo, they're way far apart.
Well, the thing is whenever whatever's going on supports your viewpoint, it's not fake news. But when it's contradicting your viewpoint, now it's fucking fake news, and which is a term I'm sick of anyway, because all news is fake news.
Right.
And if anybody listening or anybody anywhere, not listening or not, if you truly believe that anyone in the fucking government gives a shit about you, you're fucking dumber than you look.
Right.
Because it's any people that take like, well, Bernie believes in, no, fuck, he doesn't. No more than Trump believes in anyone else or cares about anyone else.
Right.
No more than fucking Biden or whatever the fuck.
Well, we've said it
cares
before.
about
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's the same agenda, just a different way they're going about it.
And I think too, and part of the thing, even on local elections, which makes much more of a difference. I'll concede that.
Yeah.
But even on that level, people might go in with good intentions, but you can't stay in politics and not become a corrupt fuck.
Yeah, I
after
mean,
a
you can't
point.
move. I don't think you can move up in politics without getting corrupt.
Or
I
they
think
get
you
to
can
the
stay in a general local
or,
stuff.
Or you get to the point where you realize you can't get anything accomplished without fucking greasing some palms and doing all that shit. Like it's part of the political system. No matter how idealistic you are, it's going to fuck you in the ass.
Yeah, but I'm partially
Unless you're maybe
okay-
like a Parks and Rec director.
right.
And even then, you might have to suck a fucking chode to get a slide built.
But I'm even partially okay with some of the palm greasing if it gets the greater good done.
Right.
To an extent, obviously, but
I'm sure a lot of police unions would agree with you.
The farther you move up the food chain in politics, though, the bigger the palm greasing is, and then you're in the pocket of this corporation or whatever.
One of the things that's okay. So I'm going to say two more things that I've killed me because they're big recent things that have come out that are getting spun. And one is you'll see people saying that, well, more unarmed white men get killed in America than unarmed black men. True, if you look at the overall numbers, but statistically and per capita, when you realize that the black people make up like an actual pretty small minority of American people, of course the numbers are going to be fucking higher for white people. There's way more goddamn more of us.
Yeah.
So
I
those
don't
numbers
hear
are
that
skewed.
argument as much from
And then you get the
right-leaning
black
people that
on
I
black
know.
on black. Well,
That's what I
get
hear more of, like gang crime.
And it's like you realize that that's a completely different issue.
It is a completely different
like dealing with like interracial crime, which is bad, is different than the people that are supposed to be helping those people,
absolutely.
killing them. And I know people can't see the difference in those two things.
Yeah. I see the difference in the two, but I heard someone one time make the argument as far as their problem with Black Lives Matter, the actual social group, not the
movement.
thought, not the movement of the thought, but the social group.
Well, the social group is a bunch of fucking
Super
cocks.
fucking political. Yeah. It's a super fucking
And
political
they're the ones
agenda
who've got a
pushers.
hold of this and push this.
Yes. But the thing was like, Black Lives Matter, like across Black Lives Matter, where there's gang violence or whatever, or a riot that demolishes a black-owned business, and now that family is destitute. Yeah, whatever. We should be talking about all of it. Like, I get it, but the police issue is this is a group of people that are supposed to be serving and protecting us,
Right?
Not just, hey, drop your gun, bang, or whatever. So,
No, it's a very different issue, and like Black Lives do matter, but that's the thing because people always use if they really think that Black Lives matter, then they should quit killing each other. I was like, do you realize what the fuck that statement says in and of itself? And like, I'm not one, and you're not one to point racism in everything. Like, and some of the shit I think people take racism is not being racism, is just people either being dumb or meaning nothing by it. Maybe how they were raised. Well, that's systemic racism. Well, maybe it is but it's not an intentional hatred of another race.
Sure.
Maybe an ingrained prejudice.
Yeah.
What the fuck ever. But when it starts becoming that that those people, and they need to, fuck you, man. Just,
Yeah.
if you can't logically see what the fuck the difference is.
Right.
But it's the same thing. I had somebody saying, well, we're all the goddamn libertarians right now. They're like, they believe in being able to live your life unabated and not fucked with the government and small government. They're not saying fuck the police. These guys should be able to be okay. They're like, whatever. Because what it boils down to is they don't want their white people guns taken away. But it's not affecting them. They're
Right.
like, well, fuck, they can get killed. Doesn't affect me. I want my freedom. Don't tread on me.
Right.
But we can tread on them. just don't tread on me.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's
Asphalt ain't white, is it? You ain't treading on me. Just tread on them. Fuck. Anyway, point being, I don't like, if it comes up, I don't mind talking about it. The shit. I just don't want to spend fuck tons of time on this podcast talking about it unless we're making a mockery of something.
sure. Or if new news comes out or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
fine with that. So
For sure.
you brought this up. What did you think about the Chappelle, the 27-minute special that just like it was recorded on last Saturday, the 6th, and then released on Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, it was fucking
So such a
outstanding.
massive turnaround.
Well, Dave Chappelle, he's such a powerful voice, whether he means to be or not. And he knows it. Like, he knows how good he is. Like, say, like, he could have come out there and done a set and been hilarious. But you could tell he was fucking, like, wrestling with what the fuck to say.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some funny shit, but he finally, when he lost it, dude, and just went off, I was like, he's more eloquent than, it's ungodly how eloquent he is. Like,
Yes.
even with profanity, however he talks, but you could visibly see the struggle in him wanting to say the right things. And it's weird to see him pulling a notebook out.
Yeah.
And I did laugh, though, that one of my favorite parts was him trying to light that fucking cigarette the whole time and never able to do it or never getting to
Yeah,
it.
he finally got it lit, but like you could see him light and then realize this is taking too long. I got to say something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was powerful. I thought it was well spoken. I think everybody
was.
should watch it. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you have an opinion or not. And a part of me too, with a lot of this shit, is like, whether it's Dave Chappelle, like you should watch some of this shit and not the fucking news stories, not this like the videos people have uploaded. But the other thing you hear is, well, what happened before the video? Doesn't fucking matter. The guy, whatever the fuck he didn't deserve what the fuck happened on that video.
Right.
Period. Anyway,
That's true. No matter what the struggle was, let's just take George Floyd, for instance. No matter what the struggle was before the cameras turn on, he was subdued and down.
Yeah.
That the rest of it is
even if he was still fighting, there's no need for
he's cuffed, and there are 3 other guys there with you, 4 total with you. He's cuffed. You've all got your hands in your pockets.
Right.
You can fucking get him up and get him in the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. They're big dudes, but that's why you have a taser.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
but anyway, what did you think of the Chappelle?
I thought it was. I went into it having seen a couple things on social media where people
I knew
were
nothing about it.
Were mentioning it. That's the only reason I found out about it. They were mentioning it, like you should watch this. Make sure you watch this. This is powerful. Blah blah whatever. And so I went into it thinking Dave Chappelle may move me to tears.
Yeah.
And he didn't, but it's again. So I compare it to because to hear the pain and a bit of confusion or whatever in his voice when he really starts to go off on it, and he gets up off the stool and he's really laying into it.
Yeah.
Like that is because being from DC, he's seen shitloads of violence and things like that. But that really is I feel a lot of the same way of when I listen to the version of "Take Me Road Country Home" by Ray Charles.
Right.
And he does the call and answer in that song. And that song does, I've listened to it 100 times. Every time I listen to it, it brings a tear to my eye because it's so beautiful. But you can hear 200 years of racial oppression in his voice because he grew up in some of that time period as a child or whatever. And you can hear that in his voice.
Yeah.
And it's just something, I'm getting chill bumps now thinking about it. But no one has that. Almost no one has that life experience that can be portrayed through their art.
And if you haven't heard that version, by the way,
it's
fucking
insane.
And the thing is, you can't. I've only found it on YouTube. I haven't been able to find it anywhere else to get, which upsets me because I'd like to fucking own it.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I'll.
Oh God damn it.
I'll see if I can find a link to it and then put it in the show notes or
Yeah,
something.
that's a good idea. But anyway, but Chappelle, like I didn't realize his lineage, like how he tied that shit together at the end. I was like, holy goddamn fuck, like that was some powerful shit, man.
Right. It was. Yeah.
What's funny to me with a lot of this shit too, like I'm not an emotional person. I mean, I'm moderately a sociopath. You know this about me.
Right.
And like, I don't have a lot of guilt. I don't have like most of the emotions I feel. There's not too much sadness there. It's mostly just fucking rage or like elation. Those are kind of my two. And sometimes they come out together. But so like really all this has just fed my hatred for fucking everything. My apathy is what is just, because, you know, like we've talked about this a little bit and I always say that nothing fucking matters. And I don't think it is in like the scheme of the universe. And like, let me quantify this and been putting it this way. So in the scheme of the universe, like fucking a million years from now, none of this shit's going to matter. Like any hardships the black community's gone through, any hardships we've gone through, none of it fucking matters. It's erased from history. There'll probably be a whole new race of fucking like smart dinosaurs and shit walking the earth. And they're going to be digging random shit up and be like, what was this? It doesn't matter. Or eventually the earth is going to be destroyed. Another planet will come up. Like in the scheme of the universe, nothing goddamned matters. But what does matter is like, we're still alive and we're still being here. So even though some of our choices and shit don't matter, like how we treat people and laws and whatever the fuck it is makes life tolerable where we are now. And it's already a shit show. So it might as well like be as decent for everybody as it can be.
Right.
So not that it matters in the long term, but in the short term, because we don't like to be inconvenienced. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like I told Amanda, like right now, if I was going this shit and I saw like, what I'm worried about. She was like, we should go to a protest. We should check it out. I was like, no, I can't. Because if I was there and I see a cop fucking hitting a woman or hitting some shit with a fucking, I'm going to go beat the shit out of the cop and then I'm in prison.
Right.
I mean, I might say beat the shit out of him. I'm going to go fucking fight him. And like, I can't go assault for assault. So I mean, that's selfish, but that's affecting my way of life. And I can't get involved because it's one extreme or another.
Right.
So I choose apathy. But
yeah. No, I mean, it's the thing. I was telling Krista and Matthew on the way down to oh, nice.
I'm just going to hold this for a minute. I don't know what the fuck happened. Go ahead and finish the story.
When you
then
messed with it earlier, I think you loosened it up. Maybe I don't know. But
That's
anyway,
what she
so
said.
I'm sure in post you'll take the loud bang out.
No,
but everyone's going to hear us.
No, I am not. It's going to stay.
So I was telling them, I was like, I'm at the point where I have a decision to make, which is, do I go get involved in one of these protests? But then what am I subjecting myself to? I have to make sure that I keep myself in a position to be able to make money and provide for the family. So like, what do you do in that? Obviously,
I feel like Freddie Mercury.
Do you? No.
Hey. Anyway, sorry.
So, but I mean, obviously, if you were just out minding your own business, you saw someone. If you see a police officer doing something like in the George Floyd murder, that I feel like either one of us would step in or try to do something.
Oh, for sure.
But going to a protest may be something that I'm just not in a position to be able to take care of yet. So.
Yep, I'm the same. Well, even the thing, that's what, I don't know if we brought this up or talked about it, but like with the George Floyd situation, like I get that they were taping it, and I'm glad they did. But one thing I don't understand, just from my perspective and how I am, is like, why did no one even try to step in and risk getting beat, going to jail, being the same thing to try to save a dude's life? And a part of it's a fear of the police. Like, I get that.
But it's also the fear of the guy, the Asian guy standing that you see in a lot of the video. I mean, like, all it takes is you rushing, and he pulls the gun on you, and then you're going to get shot as well.
Yeah, but it might save the other. And I said, I understand. I understand. Yeah. But again, it wasn't a thought for most people to try, but that's part of the fear of the police that's there. But the one good thing about it, and this sounds going to sound really shitty, but had somebody stepped in and him not died, none of this shit would be kicking off.
Right.
It might eventually.
That's probably true.
And so, in a sense, like, he was a catalyst for this. Again, not that his death was
from now on until something changes. Right. If there's a group of people, especially if that group outnumbers the police there, you're all going to have to rush.
Yeah.
You're all going to have to. Yeah, somebody else may die.
Somebody else will die.
Very likely.
Yeah.
or be injured. A police officer may die in the situation.
And if you have in different places.
If you're one of the police officers involved in something like that, fuck you, you deserve it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is there's going to have to be, and I hate mob mentality, but there's going to have to be a bit of a mob mentality when it comes to that, and it's all of us against you, and we outnumber you.
Right.
You may get the first couple
and
of
shit's
us.
actually started to get done a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I just wonder. To me, I just wonder how much of it is just lip service to calm things down.
Right.
But whatever.
We'll see. You want to take a break so I can fix this goddamn microphone?
Yeah, sure. We'll be back.
Because right now it feels like I'm kind of.
All right.
So, you know what? I have decided that I like this moonshine, but it is giving me a goddamn headache while I'm drinking it. But it could be because I haven't taken my crazy pills yet. It's fucking midnight.
That could be a problem. Yes.
So the weird thing about the shit I have to take, if you don't take it within a general window, it's like having withdrawals. Like you get massive headaches. Fucking, I feel like I have the flu.
Interesting.
Fucking sucks. But I don't get high off of it, which that also sucks.
Could be coronavirus.
It might be. Hey, the new good thing, though, about the new job that I took, there's no drug tests. Thank God.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Basically, the rule is don't come to work fucking high or drunk. You can do what you want on the weekends.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
To me, that's how it should be anyway.
Well, that's how
I
it is
mean,
with
if
most tech
if
companies.
It's legal anyway.
Well, that's how most tech companies are.
Yeah.
No, like as long as it's depending on the work environment, like in a warehouse environment, obviously it's a different thing than working like in a fucking office.
Right.
You know. So I'm looking forward to doing some blow on some New York trips.
So, I went to my go-to Irish pub restaurant while I was in Florida. McGuire's Irish Pub. I think I posted a photo of my shepherd's pie there.
Yeah.
I love that place. I go every time if I can, every time I go. Got a hat this time. That's really nice hat
Whatever.
in there.
It's a hat.
So anyway, if you're in the Destin or Pensacola area, there's one in both places.
You know, I remember I lived in
check it
Pensacola for a while. I
forgot about
fucking
that.
hate Pensacola.
Well, I mean, I've never really spent time.
I mean, it's
in
no
Pensacola.
Destin. You know what I mean?
Sure. But yeah.
Fucking
anyway.
Navy town.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So that general area that I'm in is a lot of Air Force there.
Yeah.
Because the base that's there. But anyway,
Military. Fucking military.
so I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not. I know I talked to you about.
Real quick, though,
ahead.
you sent me a picture of a fucking, like, original, like, pot still looking,
Yeah.
like,
I didn't buy it.
Why?
Why didn't I buy it, or why did I send you the picture?
Why did you send me the picture if you weren't going to fucking buy it?
Just
Just because, yeah.
Just for you to see it. Yeah.
God damn it. I was really excited about, like, putting my finger through the little hole in the jug.
I'm drinking straight from the
taking
jug.
a jug from the jug, yeah.
It was $40.
Yeah.
For that. So
Doing the arm turn so it rests on the, on the
yeah,
thing so you can
right.
tilt it back. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't get it.
I would have gotten it for you.
Would you?
I would have gotten it for me, and I would have shared. And I would have shared it with you.
Right. So I don't remember if I talked about this last week or if I just talked to you about it off mic.
It's all the same to us at this
Probably
point.
not the same. Probably didn't talk to you off mic because we don't talk off mic anymore. even if we're not recording, we sit here in front of the microphones and talk.
Yeah.
But catchphrase is a game that we tend to play
I know
at
the game.
Christmas and stuff like this, and we don't play it by the way the game is supposed to be played.
It's so weird to me that you have family game time. It's so fucking
Well,
weird.
it's
to
only
me.
this one game, and now we do typically play poker one night when we're on vacation.
That's different.
But yeah, I mean, this is one game that we've played for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years now. That not everybody plays though. Is the thing. It's only, I think there
Well,
were.
it's weird enough to me that you have regular family vacations with like all the family.
Yeah, it was
and then
21 of us there, counting all of the kids
God damn it.
from 9 months old up to 62.
Jesus Christ.
So
That's my definition of hell.
it but it's the thing is it's not that bad. I mean, a couple of the kids get on my nerves periodically. Other than that, it's really not that bad. I
Yeah.
mean,
But when I take a vacation, I don't want to see anybody that I know.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Like
Kristen
to-
and I will
like-
take
like-
off for a
like to
weekend and do
me-
something like that.
That's a family reunion, not a family vacation.
Okay. I mean, I don't consider it that just because there are no aunts, uncles, cousins, or anything like that involved. It's just all, it's our parents, so it's my parents, the siblings, and their kids.
So there's a lot of fucking that goes on in your family. All those goddamn
Well,
kids.
so you have to think. So me and Krista, we have 3 kids, and then my stepsister and her husband have 3. My brother Will has 2. David and his girlfriend have none.
That we know of.
And then Jessica and her husband have 2.
Okay.
Is that 5 of us? Yeah, that's 5 of us.
Okay.
So, and then my dad and stepmom. So, anyway, which the vacation is really more for them because they like to get everybody together and see everybody hang out and have a good time.
I.e. family reunion.
Okay, well, that's fine, whatever. But so we play catchphrase. It's 8 of us play. We're in teams of 2, and Jessica and I have never lost a catchphrase tournament. We set up a double elimination bracket system, and we random draw for seeding, and then we play. And I said at the beginning of the night before we ever started playing, but when we decided we were going to play, I was like, I feel like this is the year that we lose, and I feel like we lose to Gabe and Olivia, which your best teammate in a game like that is more than likely your sibling, just because you all have the same reference points for things throughout life.
And you agree on wrong rules of games and such.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Like name that tune.
Okay. All right. So we play catchphrase, and it takes a few hours. Like we ended up Jessica and I against in the last round, so we had to lose twice because we were undefeated at that point. And we were against Gabe and Olivia in the last round, and we went 5 overtimes in the first round of the last round, and then they beat us. So we each had 1 loss at that point, and then they ended up beating us. But so we did lose, but it's fun. I have a good time playing catchphrase with Jessica, just because it's interesting how little of a clue I can give her or whatever, and she can get it. And the same thing that it really is mind blowing to the rest of them that don't quite have that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Will did give a his first word. I'm not going to tell you the word, but he says they work in the place where you go and you get books or whatever. And my stepsister is teamed up with him, so they're brother and sister. And she says librarian. He's like, but they work there. She says librarian. He goes, okay, and he says, yeah, and he clicks next, and everyone's standing around making sure there's no cheating going on. Goes, nope, that was libertarian. I think he was halfway to stoned and a little bit buzzed.
Hunter actually made that joke on Twitter today. I was impressed. I put a tweet out there that where the fuck are the libertarians right now? Kind of like what I joked about earlier, and he said they're all in the libraries where they work, idiot.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, it was pretty. It was better than I could have.
Sure, I mean that's.
Expected,
but I don't pay any
Hunter.
attention to his tweets anymore.
No.
Yeah, he's so far right. He's starting to turn back left.
Yeah.
So I don't. Whatever.
Denial.
Fuck Hunter.
Denial of truth.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
By the way, I don't care anything about that. What you just described to me is I would fucking kill myself. Like, they would think I'm giving some kind of clue, and I'm actually fucking tying a noose around my neck and about to hang myself from the rafter in front of everyone.
Wait, Hangman?
Exactly. Robin Williams. David Carradine.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
So,
1950s America. All of which would be wrong.
did you watch the season finale of Rick and Morty?
I fucking did.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
It was very good.
It's very good.
It was emotionally intense at times.
Yeah.
It was, but it was
Weird.
good.
Yeah, but this season has been weird, right? Because I was expecting last season was so goddamn dark. So dark. And this season started dark and it just ended up really emotionally heavy.
Yes.
Like, it's been a heavy season. But it's people. I've read a lot of shit online, people complaining that it's Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. They don't give a fuck.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they do, but they don't. Like,
some of the best episodes so far have been in this season.
Yeah.
And some of the best, like, one-off jokes have come in. I mean, the 9/11 joke.
Oh, that was fantastic.
And it was so subtle.
Yeah.
That if you really weren't paying attention, you missed it. But
do you remember when I actually had followers on Twitter back in the day when I
Yes.
pissed off all those people with my happy 9/11 tweet?
Yeah.
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 It made me happy. I think I lost at that point in time, I had like 500 people following me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I lost like 150
Wow.
from,
Nice.
from that tweet.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was also not that far after. It's what, 2007 when I made that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not like it was in 2011
Right.
or whenever the fucking 9/11 happened. I don't remember.
2001.
Was it 2001?
It was.
Okay.
Because we're coming up on 19 years, and then 2021 will be 20. So.
Why haven't they made that shit a holiday yet? Like a federal
don't
holiday?
know.
I should be goddamned off from work to remember those fucking inside job bomb. It's because it was an inside job. That's why it's not a holiday.
Yeah, it's because jet fuel don't melt steel.
Right.
So, yeah.
And the buildings fell onto themselves.
So how did you feel about the last episode of Rick and Morty? It was sad that it was the last episode of the season because it felt like, because the way they broke the season up, it felt, once they started it back up, everything just felt short.
Yeah.
So,
It felt like I was about to come and they stopped. That's what it felt like. Which, how sweet would it be? It'll never happen. But if we could get goddamn Dan Harmon or Justin Roiland to call into this shit,
yeah. I mean,
I would
be,
I would probably masturbate the entire episode.
Sure. Does Dan Harmon still drink, or did he quit?
No, I think he's sober now. Have you seen his exercise Instagram channel?
I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah,
it's so weird.
Yes,
it makes no sense whatsoever. I love it.
It's I don't know. I love Dan Harmon.
Yeah, he's just such a weird motherfucker. And he had one tweet about him trying to explain the plot of Pretty Woman. It was
yeah, that's right.
It was great.
Oh God! So what did you do while I was gone, aside from quit your new job to start another new job?
I quit it for the week. Oh man, it was the weirdest thing, and I was such an asshole about it. Like, I knew the guy. I didn't want to have an awkward conversation about it, even though I didn't give a shit. There's still that weird, like, got to do the right thing inside of me that happens from time to time. I don't understand it, mostly with work because of how whatever. So I was like, I need to talk to them and not just send an email, whatever. So I waited till the very end of what would be the workday, knowing he probably wouldn't have time to call me back. And so I called and I left a message, and I was like, and it was, I think the end of the day for them is like 5, and I called it like 3. And I knew they wouldn't answer. I left a message. I was like, hey, got to talk to you guys. Stuff comes up, blah, blah, blah. And again, I waited till Friday, and then he didn't call me back. So I sent an email Friday night, and then, heard back. But I was like, I tried to call you. This is what I never heard back. So This is the deal. And then so what I did, so I didn't have to talk to anybody actually at the job site. I went in stupid early and just dropped off my bag with the front desk and was like, oh, this is for so-and-so, and fucking hightailed. I did do an exit interview with them because I didn't have any hard feelings. I just don't want to deal with the bullshit questions. So I did lie like a motherfucker, and they were like, well, why did you take this other job? I was like, oh, because they're offering me, it's a great opportunity. They're offering me like 6 figures. Because who the fuck can argue with that? I mean, it's so much money that they're not going to try to match it. They're not going to try to negotiate. And I don't have to deal with any of the bullshit.
Did you not want them to match it? What if they had said, oh, well, then let's see what we can do?
No, because the new job is less money.
Sure, but I'm just saying,
but
if you lied in that, what if they had said, well,
I didn't want the job. Like
if they had offered you 6 figures?
No.
You wouldn't have taken it?
No.
That's interesting.
And I can tell you why. Because I'm all about some money, and I can put up with some bullshit for some money.
Right.
But it was one of those jobs when I started, and it was my second choice from what I wanted because the money was there, and it's something I could do, challenging, whatever. But company culture, as soon as I kind of started going through shit, I was like, I'm going to hate this. Like, I can do the job, and the people are super nice. And I was like, just being realistic, like, I'll stick with this for like maybe a year. And then I want to be looking for something else. It doesn't matter how much money it is. Like, it's going to be miserable for me.
See, that's the crazy thing. I can stick with something I hate. Yeah. For the money.
I can to a point, but for me, and again, it sounds like a cop out, but it's really true. I with the bipolar shit, like, I have to be on half the time anyway. And it comes a point where I'm going to fucking rage quit. Like, it's going to be like, I'll have a break at some point and I can't mentally handle it. It's not opposed to, like, I can put up with it. It'll be fine. Like, no, like, I hate it. Go to work, whatever. But there's going to come a point where I'm like, I'm going to fucking stab someone or I'm going to fucking hang myself. It's going to be, this is going to end badly if I don't fucking quit this job. And I get bored. You know, those are the two things. So anyway, this new job I'm super stoked about. Plus they sent me a goddamn brand new MacBook Pro and fucking some AirPods and some shit and all kinds of other cool shit. But anyway, so I'm stoked I got it. It's going to be better. I think I'll actually enjoy the job. You know, I might quit after 2 years instead of 1. But
I know you will.
I might not though. Like I would have stayed with the company that I just left, which is Parada Service Group, working with Lutron doing LED lighting. I don't work for them anymore, so I don't fucking care.
Shot the ability to go back and work for them.
I wasn't going to anyway. Like I'm not. I can't go back. If I had to, they probably would, but I hate being in that situation.
I got you.
Anyway, but with the climate there and where things were going with all the COVID and what things were shifting, like it was a 50-50 if I would have, because I was one of the few that kept on, but then there was possibility of that going away and I needed the stability. So, yeah. But if you do like some, cool lighting shit and do all that commercially, then,
Yeah, that sucks that you quit before I could buy all the cool lighting stuff.
you weren't going to buy
installed
it. All for your house? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can still help you install it. You just don't get the sweet discount.
Nah, that's the problem. I'm not going to buy it if I don't get the
You
discount.
you should have jumped on it when you had the chance.
You're right, but
Instead of spending all this money on podcasting shit.
well, now my wife makes more money, so I can afford it.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that's where I'm sitting with that shit. But I'm pretty excited because I get to go and actually travel to cool places, and it's an important job. Weirdly enough,
It's important.
important for this particular
Is
company.
it essential?
For the company, yeah. And it's a real fucking like I get an actual engineer stamp
That's
on
what
my
I was
badge.
saying. What's your job title?
Yeah, it's systems engineer.
No.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, which, fuck, I'm not an engineer. I'm probably the dumbest one in the room, but God damn it, I'll figure it out. Yet another job I'm honestly, on paper, grossly underqualified for.
Well, I mean,
That's my MO. I swing for the fences.
I don't have anything to say about it. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I don't give a shit. I just don't.
You don't give a shit anyway.
I don't care.
You are
Not
boring
tonight.
to talk to tonight.
I don't care.
I was
I'm
hoping
so
you'd be.
tired.
I'd hoping you'd be in a worse mood tonight.
I was ill, and then time went by, and I ate dinner and everything.
and now you're just tired.
So I feel like my voice sounds like I'm exhausted.
Your voice just sounds like you're a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
It's your ice, by the way, not the moonshine that tastes plasticky.
Yeah, probably because I got it out of the cooler.
Yeah, that would fucking explain it.
explains it.
It's because you didn't want to go upstairs.
No, I had the cooler was upstairs when I got ready to come down here with the ice. I was like, I'll just scoop out of the cooler.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's because I drank all the moonshine and then I poured the Coke in. I just have some ice and I was like, nope, that's ice. That's fucking plastic ass ice.
That's how much I don't care tonight. That's how much I don't care. I don't care. I just scooped it right out of the cooler. That ice came from Destin all the way to Knoxville this morning.
Some fancy Florida COVID ice.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, yeah, Amanda was telling me I'm trying to go to one of the protests coming up here in Knoxville. I think there's one on the 20th is the next one, but
So you're gonna go with her, or
maybe because the ones here have been pretty fucking
is
peaceful.
she gonna
They've
take a
been
gun
minimal.
so she can protect herself?
No,
Okay.
neither one.
I got a small pistol she could take with
No,
her.
I'm good.
Small.
We don't need one.
No one needs one till they need one.
I got all the weapons I need right here
Do you?
attached to my shoulders.
What if you don't go?
What's that?
What if you don't go?
I'll go with her.
Okay.
She goes.
You gonna take any of the kids?
Eli.
Oh, you're actually gonna take him?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to make him go. Well, I might because even if he doesn't, like he's fairly invested. He's getting at the age now where he's stupid enough to have opinions on things. He just regurgitates whatever. But I was telling Amanda, like for him, like, it would be good to at least see what a protest looks like and what things are like, even if he doesn't. I don't know where he stands on a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
I don't ask him because I don't care. But just for him to see the shit that's going on and see what this looks like it's good for him. And Amanda's like, well, I don't know, what if it turns non-peaceful and the cops start firing tear gas and shit? I was like, well, that's an experience in and of its goddamn self.
Get a lot of pussy for that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so...
He comes to school with rubber bullet welts all over his body.
Right, I was giving him some advice. He's getting to the age now, like, he'll ask me for lady advice from time to time. And I'm the one I told him, I said, I'm not the one to ask for relationship advice. But if you want to know some advice on how to fucking tap some ass, I'm the dude to talk to.
Don't ask me how to be a parent.
Right? Don't ask me how to be a good
how
father.
to be married.
Never mind. I'm not even going to defend myself against that.
Go ahead.
I don't have to. No.
No, you're right. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Probably should.
I am a good goddamn dad.
I'm not saying you're not.
I know.
You're a mediocre goddamn dad.
No, I'm a great goddamn dad.
I don't know about that.
Ask Eli what he thinks about me as a dad.
So ask the kid that you're around all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Because that's the one that counts.
right. So I learned something about Matthew. So Matthew's my middle child, youngest son. on the way down, it's just me, him, and my wife in the car, and we started talking about some of this stuff, kind of partially trying to get it out of our system before we get around everyone else, but also it's the last 2 or so hours of the trip, and everyone else but me has slept, and now we're bored. As we're talking about, one thing, I mean, he's 19 years old. He'll be 20 on Wednesday, and he doesn't just regurgitate everything that's being spouted out by whatever form of media is marketed towards his age group, which is generally the very left is marketed towards the young adults now. But no, because he'll have an opinion that lines up very Republican, and then he'll turn right around to the next part of the topic. It goes way left as well. It's very back and forth, and he actually looks up articles and reads multiple.
Which is probably pretty healthy.
It is very healthy. And I told him, I was like, I'm proud of you that you're forming your own opinion. You're reading many different news sources that have different spins on it, and then forming your opinion based off of that. And so it was a very interesting conversation, very, very good conversation, because they're not all three like that. I mean, Olivia's a little, because she's very into church and things like that, but she's a little liberal, but then she definitely has that church part of things too. But I think she has goes to a fairly progressive church as well. She drank in front of me for the first time on vacation.
Oh, nice. Not the first time.
No, the first time that she just took and was
gotcha.
that I didn't say, here, taste this, or yes, you can try this.
Yeah, well, hey, you can do a shot with Steven. That's fine.
You can do a pickleback to see what it's like. That's what that was. You can do a pickleback to see what it's like. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like Gabe had bought whatever the shitty, whatever it's called. I can't think of what it's called now.
White Claw,
yeah. So she was drinking that at the beach, and so
White Claw.
Yeah, White Claw. So
well, good for her.
Yeah, because they were all like, "What do you?" So is she gonna be able to drink on this trip? I'm like, so she's 19 years old. I can't stop her.
Right.
She's like, yeah, but what about at home? I was like, well, it's my house. I can stop her.
Right.
Here, I can say you can't do that here.
Right.
But I mean, she goes with her friends and they drink some and things like that. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, just be careful.
Yeah.
Know who you're around and be careful. Don't be drinking and driving or riding with somebody or whatever. But whatever. You're an adult. Do what you're gonna do.
Drink and hit up them double flags.
Yeah. I think both of the boys was smoking weed with Will.
Yeah.
On vacation. A little bit. Not a lot.
Were you jealous?
I wouldn't say jealous, but it was like at times where I was like, man, I really wish I could smoke some of that weed.
Yeah.
Wish I could do some of your weed, man.
I wish I could smoke some of your
Can I smoke
marijuana
some of
cigarettes.
your drugs? Can I smoke some of your drugs, please?
I would like 2 pieces of crack, please.
Yeah, but Will showed up we got to the house, it was raining, so we just went through the gate around back, so we couldn't check in yet. We're standing up.
So does your dad not have an issue with them smoking weed and shit? Do they do it around the house?
He knows he doesn't like it.
Okay.
Will goes off away from everybody and hits the pipe a couple times.
Do you know that your kids were smoking weed with him?
I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so. But when we got there to the house, we had an hour or so before
he will when I email him a link to this podcast.
I'm pretty sure David slipped up and told him about it.
Okay.
Or mentioned it in conversation. Anyway, because David told me later, he's like, sorry. It's just a complete accident.
Wow.
Like, well, we'll see. Nothing's been said to me yet.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't know how to find podcasts.
Yeah, I've had to show my dad twice.
What radio stations that come on?
106 Point Pod.
106 Pod. It's on K-Love.
K-Love. Way FM.
Yeah. Is Way FM still a thing?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my sister listens. She's getting back in the whole churchy thing again.
Well, of course she is.
Right. Well, it lines up with
Probably
lines up with their racism.
Oh, sure. Probably a little bit of directed by your mom.
No, she's just getting that age. All as Southern women do from time to time. But what's weird though, I went to her church with her one time. It's a tiny Southern Baptist church, and their pastor's named Ian something. And it's funny because churches are supposed to be about like helping the lost, whatever. And you have fire and brimstone preachers, whatever.
Sure.
But this dude's like screaming about the unsaved and how they're basically cockroaches. And then when you turn on the light, they want to scatter. I was like, what fuck kind of love shit is this?
Right.
Like it was putting themselves like these Christians on a pedestal and these poor pathetic roaches on the ground.
Yeah.
That you're supposed. I was like, fuck you, man. That's some bullshit.
It's interesting. My dad goes to a Southern Baptist church. At one point, they had a lesbian couple in the congregation. Everybody just acted like that wasn't there.
Right.
And one thing I will say is that their pastor, it didn't matter that kind of thing didn't matter to him, but it wouldn't sway him from speaking
Right.
whatever his convictions were, or whatever.
Right. And whatever.
I can respect that. I mean, if you don't change your message based on who's in,
Yeah.
then I'm fine with that. But their pastor is black.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting, and
Especially in the Southern Baptist world.
and he's been their pastor for I'd say 10 years or more now.
Okay.
Was interesting. I didn't think he'd last there very long. I figured he'd end up leaving or they'd vote him out or something.
Right.
Which is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
That you vote your pastors in and out.
God ordained them, but fucking we're voting them out.
Right.
Like Trump.
So anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, church is such a weird thing with race. Like it really fucking is. And there's a lot of black churches. They don't want fucking white people in their churches, and a lot of white churches. But then, like my favorite churches I've been to are very mixed churches. There's one in Huntsville that we went to for a little bit because Amanda felt wanted to go. No, goddamn, fuck the Rock, fucking cunt ass, greedy ass, name it, claim it, bitches. Yeah. But no, it was a Foursquare church, and I can't remember what the fucking pastor's name was. It was a black pastor and his wife, but it was a heavily mixed, like black, Mexican, I should say Latino, because Latinx, but white. Like it was like a really diverse group of people in all their services, and it was kind of cool to go to, because the whole ambiance of the crowd is different. Because I'm sure you've been to some white churches that you'll have the token black couple there, and everybody's like extra nice to them because they're the black couple, but it's a kind of a weird balance. And I've been to some all black churches that they're nice, that they're not mean to me or whatever, but the ambiance there,
you can feel it.
It's odd, yeah. And then, and of course, then you also go to, but it's the same thing even with dressing. Like you go to certain Southern Baptist churches and you show up in fucking a t-shirt and jeans, and it's fucking like they'll let you be in service, but you can tell nobody fucking likes it.
Right.
It's just a weird fucking thing. I got into it on Twitter a couple of days ago. It's like I tried with all this shit going on not to have gotten on to some of the Christian like pastor threads and shit, but I did. I goddamn did.
You can't help yourself.
And one lady, she posted that, why do we defund the police? Jesus said to visit people in prison. If there weren't police, then you wouldn't have prisons. So therefore, Jesus wouldn't want us to defund the police. I'm like, what the fuck kind of logic is that shit? So I got into it a little bit, and then she started posting some other bullshit, and I was like, listen, the bottom line is Jesus doesn't give a fuck about the cops. I'm pretty sure he cares more about black people getting killed by police than he actually does about the police having more money. But anyway, it was just, I've never heard like that is a very Christian argument. Somebody that just listens to whatever's from the pulpit. It's like, yeah, Jesus said to visit people in the police. Well, if he defund the police, we won't have or said to visit people in prison. If he doesn't fund the police, who's going to put people in prison? Therefore, Jesus doesn't want people to. But it's hilarious, but it's so fucking sad.
Yeah. I try not to see. I try to keep myself from seeing a lot of stuff because it makes me mad.
Yeah.
It makes me
like
mad.
even Dr.
Partially
Brown,
because I know at one point in my life I was probably very much the same way.
Absolutely.
I think we all were when we were teenagers.
Before you got woke.
Before I got woke. But then it's I don't understand. I don't understand the mindset.
Well, I don't understand because kids are impressionable, especially when you feel like you found something that's the right thing to do and the right way to go, whatever. But if you can be at all an independent adult and get to a point and can't see the fucking horse shit that's there and start questioning things, like how do you live that way? Are people, honest to God, like that shallow that they don't want to think?
You're not being intellectually honest, or you're purposely putting your blinders on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Or are you really like that needing of somebody to tell you what to do? And those are people that are out there too.
I mean, well, that's also a good... that's a big indication of people in church. I mean, they just want someone to tell them what's right and what's wrong, and then and what they can and can't do. And
We've talked about our parents, like my mom, or most Christians that I know that are really, they won't consider, like, God's this big omnipresent. He's in everything. He's through everything. He knows everything. But he has to act in this box that the Bible lays out, which doesn't even fucking make sense through half of it.
Right.
Because you can have half of the Bible where God's like, fucking kill all those women, children, and animals, and these idolaters, fucking string them up, gut them, burn their bodies, fuck all these bitches. And then Jesus comes along and is like, no, whoa, 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 whoa. Gotta love everybody. We don't want anybody to be lost. We leave the 99%. We'll go after the one. Let's love these motherfuckers. It's like,
but the blood changed everything.
yeah, I guess. But the thing is, but those weren't human sacrifices. That was God just being like, they're occupying your land. Go fuck them bitches over. And I really feel like that a lot of it might be kind of how we are now. Like, oh, we're doing this because God told us to do it. And so it's like a justification. Like Israel
He killed Lot's wife just for turning around looking over his shoulder.
Right. That's so they say. And they're like, oh, a lot of that sounds really similar to shit you tell your kids.
Sure.
Right? It's like, oh, shit, you guys fucking don't act up. You know what's going to happen? Devil's going to come and get your ass. It's like, oh, shit. It's like, you know what happened? This one person, they didn't listen to God, and they got fucking burned up, turned to salt. Jeez. But anyway, the stories feel like very much of like a group of people. They're like, oh, they got better shit than us. We should go take it. And somebody's like, you know what? I think God's telling us that we deserve that shit. Yeah. Let's go fucking take it. And you know what? So nobody can talk.
The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous.
Exactly. Fucking shit, man. Anyway, but what I was getting at is most Christians in churches will not even consider looking at an option that's outside of whatever constructs they have set up because it's sacrilegious, because it's heresy, because it's whatever the fuck they want to say. Whereas there is so much other shit out there that they could, even if nothing else, to learn from. Like, even if you say, you know what, I don't believe where this is coming from, but it's a good concept.
Right.
It's like, I'm sure Hitler at some point in his life had a conversation with someone, and someone was like, you know what, that's a good idea, because it had nothing to do with fucking killing Jews and putting people in gas chambers. Could have been like, you know what, this car would be more efficient if we fucking took the doors off. It would weigh less. And somebody's like, you know what, God damn it, Adolf, that's a great idea. We're going to make these Jeeps more efficient. That was a good idea. Yeah. Everything he comes from is fucking awful. Yeah. Warner von Braun.
That's right.
Fucking
hero of Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, right. I told somebody one time that's like, you live in a Nazi town, right? And they got super pissed.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no, the fucking guy. He's Warner von Braun.
He didn't come to work for us because he loved America so much.
He did after he got here because he was rich as shit.
Well, sure, but he came to work for us because he didn't want to die.
Right. Didn't want to be tried for war crimes.
Which is an interesting thing. War crimes.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last president that we've had that couldn't be tried for war crimes?
None of them.
I can't think of one, at least not in our lifetime.
I don't think there's one in the history of America.
Probably not.
Well, the argument would be, though, is they can't get charged for war crimes because they didn't do the crime. They just gave the order to do things, and they should have been done ethically.
Sure. But if that's the case, would you have tried Hitler for war crimes?
Right.
Yeah. He didn't do it, though. He just gave the order.
He wasn't the president of the United States.
Well, you're right.
God wasn't behind him. He wasn't acting on behalf of a Christian nation.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And that's
did you ever hear Norm Macdonald's joke about Germany, Nazis, whatever? He's like, Germany, and I'll butcher it, but it was, Germany decided they wanted to go to war. And who did they pick for their opponent? The world. And the world got together and we won, and they went and we said, don't do that anymore. And they're like, okay. And he said, several years later, they decided they were going to go to war again. And by God, who did they pick for their opponent this time? The world again. And they almost won.
Yeah. My favorite thing that Norm Macdonald ever does is when he goes, by God. That's
I'll tell you, Norm Macdonald is underrated.
Absolutely.
He is an absolute genius. I've heard other comics say that he just struggles over his words and the timing and what word is the right word to get this point across, and how long of a pause do I need here to emphasize the point or whatever. It's insane. His last special, it was a miss for me. I didn't care for it, but in regular conversation, the Norm Macdonald, the podcast he did,
it's brilliant.
And if you watched his show, that Norm Macdonald has a show on Netflix, he's just He is absolutely
And the one prior
brilliant.
to that, like my favorite thing is because he even got some like quote unquote offensive comedians that he would piss them off because of some of the shit when they did the random joke thing at the end of the episode. That's still my favorite racial joke that ever came out of that.
I don't know
episode.
that I remember that.
I don't know if it's.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, I can tell it. It was Norm Macdonald joke. You can look it up on the internet. But the joke was something along the lines of like, what was it? Because he didn't read it. It was one of his guests ended up having to read it. And it was a gold chain is a really great retirement for a really, really good slave. And I was like, oh, shit, Norm Macdonald. And he was like, what? I didn't tell it. I didn't tell the joke. This guy told the joke. Right. As he does. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. I mean, that just came out of left field. But that's Norm Macdonald. Like, to me, like his timing and the shit, because I never saw that coming when he was like, a gold chain is a really great retirement gift. I was like, okay, where's this going? Oh, shit, Norm Macdonald.
Just go find clips of him on YouTube where he was been on
shows?
Conan or anything like that. It's just, I mean, because he'll say shit that Conan is like, oh God, please, this does not need to be said. But he's laughing so hard he can't do anything about it. He just has to turn away and laugh.
Well, that's what they said. They never know like what he's going to say when it comes on. Well, he got kicked off of. He was banned from a city because they had some charity thing they were doing. They're like, you can't cuss, you can't do that. And he came out and started going on like dick jokes and like fucking people in the cunts and like just some random shit. And I was like, only because he doesn't give a fuck. But he's different than like Bill Burr. Yeah. Who doesn't give a fuck, but he's very vocal about it. Norm Macdonald just kind of does his thing. Yeah. He did this.
He's so nice about it too, though.
Oh, he was on. I follow him on Twitter, which is great. But he had this one thing. It was a few weeks ago, but it was like a fucking 20 tweet story that came out with no purpose at the end of it, and people were like, "What the fuck was this?" It was good.
But I'm sure if you dissect that 20 tweet story down, you'll find.
Oh, it did. There were some.
Something.
There were some great fucking. Like it was him in the comment. He did a lot of the me saises and by gods and. Yeah. It was good.
Oh yeah, it's find the clip of David Letterman's last episode, and Norm came because Norm loves David Letterman,
right?
And he went on there and he did his jokes or whatever, and he was about to cry. I mean, because it was emotional for him, but he did his jokes, and it was just to hear Letterman talk about it was like, dude, it's just insane. Still, just at the top of his game. Supposedly, there's going to be a Dirty Work 2, by the way.
That would be amazing.
I can't remember who's behind.
That's still like I watched the movie again, and it's a little. It was very that '90s feel comedy,
sure.
but a lot of the comedy in it still holds up. And I remember we were talking about he found out it was his sister. He's like, oh, remember that time you looked up her skirt? And everybody's like, oh, and he goes, oh, remember that time you fucked her? And he was like, oh, got really quiet. So who would you say if you had to make a top 10 comedians in our lifetime? Like who would those people be?
That were actually doing comedy while we were alive?
They were at least alive still while we were like, we might not have like Pryor, right?
Sure.
I don't remember when he died. Was it in the 80s, mid 80s?
No. Pryor didn't die until like late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, so I would put him in there. Carlin would be in there. So
Carlin, but Carlin started going crazy toward the end of his life, and it didn't make a lot of sense. But at the top of his game, his unpopular opinion. This is I've said this before to other people, and they're like, I don't know that you get to say that anymore. Like,
okay.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
He's one of the best to ever do it. On stage, one of the best that ever was to do it. Now, what he did off stage, atrocious.
But evidently, he was one of the best at doing that, too.
Evidently. He did it for
at least
years.
for a while.
Right.
You lose touch. You lose your edge when you get old.
My top 5, I would have to say Pryor, Chappelle.
I was going to say, give me 10.
Well, I don't know that. Once I pass 5, I could be talked into other comedians. I think. But for sure, Pryor, Cosby, Chappelle, Seinfeld, Eddie Murphy are probably my top 5.
Okay.
One white guy in that whole group,
right?
Obviously,
right.
I mean, but once you go past that, I get into the Joe Rogans or Bill Burrs,
right?
Because Bill Burr, to me, probably does come into my top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, he's consistently great. And the fact that he can sit 2 times a week and do an hour podcast alone is insane.
Yeah, which is a lot of yelling.
Yeah, at times it is. He's gotten a little better. He just had his second kid was just born a couple weeks ago. So, He's got a little bit better. His daughter has calmed him down a little bit,
Right.
but who Norm Macdonald would have to be in the top 10.
And that's what I was saying. That's why I gave it a solid top 10 because there's a lot of comments like I love Jeselnik. I love
Jeselnik. I could put him into my top 10 maybe.
I have Pryor.
Yeah.
I have Chappelle.
Louis C.K.
Obviously. Yeah, CK. Before I get to him, so Pryor, Chappelle, Eddie Murphy. I'm putting Carlin in there because he in his top of his game he was absolutely fucking outstanding.
He was.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, sometimes forget that he did stand up.
Yeah,
because he had such a prolific movie career.
Right, but he was
a great stand up, but
yeah.
he was coked out of his mind every time he was doing stand up. But yeah,
it's still.
Anyway,
Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg
is in my top because he brought a whole thing to like Dane Cook wouldn't exist without Mitch Hedberg.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because Mitch Hedberg, I can't talk. Mitch Hedberg's style of comedy was almost an anti-joke type of thing, like a whole left field. And Dane Cook really pulls from that a lot, how he tells his stories and how he does his setups. Yeah. I'm throwing more, and I'm not saying, but he's obviously a big influence on that. And I'm talking about stand-ups. Like I don't consider like Andy Kaufman a fucking stand-up comedian. He did stand-up, but he was more of a performance artist.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna throw Bill Burr because I think it's fantastic. Louis C.K. is definitely on there. Again, I don't mix what they did in their personal lives with what they did on stage. I'm talking about as a fucking comic. Seinfeld's definitely in there. Who's the other guy's name? Fucking Don Rickles. Is in there too.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you could never have another Don Rickles. Don Rickles. I don't think
he didn't. Even when he was old, he didn't
give
a fuck.
Yeah.
Like Bill Burr's the closest thing we have to a Don Rickles as far as he'll call people out. But even then, it's not.
No, Don Rickles just straight up called individual people out to their face, and then just
and it'd be racial.
It was always
fat,
a roast with Don Rickles.
Exactly,
always a roast.
Which Jeff Ross is great in that.
He's
opinion.
great in that,
but that's about
form,
it.
But that's about it. So, how do you feel about? Now I can't think of his name, but he and Ross did that thing on Netflix, bumping Mike Dave Attell. How do you feel like Dave Attell?
I'm not a big Dave Attell fan. Like I don't think he's bad. I just it's not
supposedly when he was in the clubs, not coming up, but like really kind of he was the guy everybody was looking up to in the clubs. Supposedly he was just insane, insane.
Yep.
But
I'm sure I'm blanking out on a few more too. But that's kind of I think that was 7. I really can't pull through without just pulling some random shit. I feel like Bo Burnham's a little underrated. He doesn't do as much in the limelight, but he's pretty fucking brilliant.
The last special that at least I can remember, it was too artsy for me.
Yeah,
like it was just like he had some funny stuff in there, but he's too artsy for me. Dimitri Martin was great.
Amanda loves Dimitri Martin. I've never been huge on
his last special. I didn't care for as much, but all of his other stuff, especially when he would have the flip board or whatever, and incorporate that.
You don't put Jeff Foxworthy in your top 10.
I'll tell you this. I've heard clips of Jeff Foxworthy not doing his traditional "you might be a redneck." If Jeff Foxworthy was a funny motherfucker.
Yeah, he really was.
Very clean. Bill Engvall, another one that was very funny.
Yeah.
Ron White, super dirty. Don't know how he ever got put on the blue collar comedy tour, but Ron White is fucking hilarious. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I mean, Bob Hope's in there, but it was a different. Like he's not one of my favorites because there's a lot of comedians that I think are amazing that I've never like not necessarily a fan of. Like he had the show Australian guy.
Oh, Jim Jeffries. I love Jim Jeffries.
He's hilarious. I'm not a huge fan. Like, I couldn't just sit and watch Jim Jeffries.
He's got a new show, a new scripted show coming out at some point that I'll watch. Because Legit, if you didn't watch Legit was a great show, but it was all based off of things that had happened in his life.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot, man. I mean, but the thing is, it's funny. It's almost like music, though. Like the greats stand out above the greats. Like there's at any given time 1 billion like really good comedians that are out there, but not many that are just fucking great. Like Seinfeld's one of those guys. Like I didn't like his early stand up. I really didn't. His newer stuff is brilliant, but as a writer, as a creative guy, he's a fucking brilliant dude.
See, I like Seinfeld, all of his stuff because, and most people miss this, but if you really listen to what he's saying, he gets this persona of working clean because he very rarely says too much. His subject matter is not blue, but if you really listen to him, there's so much anger and hatred for normal life under it that it's like the fact that he can package it in this very polished, very almost family friendly.
Yeah.
This hatred and disdain for everyday life, to me, is just genius.
Yeah, yes, 100%. Like one of my favorite things is like comedians in cars when he does that.
Oh my
It's just,
God.
you know, you can tell he bitches about like people, like even talking about like, well, I'm rich, I don't care about poor people. You know,
That was one of my favorite jokes in his last special that came out a month or so ago. He's like, everyone's life sucks. He said, your life sucks, my life sucks. Perhaps not quite as much. Yeah. But it does suck. And he said, let's face it, I could be anywhere I want to be in the world right now, and I'm choosing to be here because I need your approval. like he openly admits that he's filthy rich
and
can do whatever he wants
fuck.
and narcissistic, and he has to have that approval from the audience. And that's the thing most comedians agree on, is that they need that approval. I think Jesselnick's one of the ones that has said before, I don't care if you like me or not. I know I'm funny. So
right.
I heard him.
You know what the best suicide is? Murder-suicide.
I heard him on Whitney Cummings' podcast the other day. Whitney's another one I would say is very good. Yeah. She some of her stuff I don't care for, but she's very good.
So this came up with Hunter. What about how do you feel about female comedians? Are they as funny as male comedians?
A lot. So it's an interesting question because I've heard that asked in different ways. I think there are a larger quantity of per capita of funny male comedians than funny female comedians.
Right.
But there are a lot of female comedians that are funnier than the vast majority of male comedians.
Yes.
So
that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are more male comedians, period, than there are female comedians.
And I think what a lot of female comedians, I think this is where they get a bad rap, is because they're in a mostly male-dominated world, right, of comedy and things. They tend to very much, out of necessity to get followers, money, whatever the case may be, they tend to really pander towards the female crowd. Because that's
or
where
they hypersexualize themselves.
That because of that, not hyper. Well, they do.
Well,
that
Amy Schumer's world's worse about talking about how many people she slept with, how many dicks she sucked with. Right. It's like,
well, they do that for the men's side, and then for the women's side, they talk about their fucking vaginas and periods and all that shit. And not that there's nothing funny about those things, but it always seems that all of the jokes cater in those two arenas.
Well, I don't like when any comedian, male or female, like has this like a fat comedian that all the jokes are about them being fat.
Exactly.
I can't stand that.
Right.
I don't like that.
Right. And that's like that with like a female comedian. It's like, I get you have a vagina and that you have a period and that men are fucking assholes. So all that shit's funny.
So here's what I'll say about men being funnier than women, because I think in general, a lot of men are funnier than a lot of the women that they know for the most part. Mm-hmm. And it's not that men are better or whatever, but I think from an evolutionary standpoint, men had to be funny to gain attention of females. So it's something that kind of
I guess
started.
So that makes sense.
You think about it. What's one of the first things you try to do if you're trying to pick a girl? You try to make her laugh.
Well, what's the first thing? A lot of women will say that they would look for in a man.
He made me laugh.
He's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. That's the thing is a lot of dudes don't realize. Like I've tried to talk to Eli about like this shit is like, dude, because he always like, well, I was like, dude, the thing is, you're not a bad looking kid. Like at 16, I was way fucking more fucked up looking than you are. And I was like, but B, I was like, you don't have to be like the best looking dude there. It's like, be fucking funny. Mm-hmm. And you have to try to be funny. Like just be a sarcastic, be you. Like, and girl, and if you, the thing is, you've got to turn off the give a fuck switch.
Yep.
And not give a fuck in the sense of like, you're still going to care what they think.
Sure.
But not give a fuck about how it's said. Like, don't worry about sounding cool. You know, just fucking make the joke. And if it lands, it kills. If it doesn't, that's how you learn to tell jokes.
That's it, yeah.
You know, you're going to have a lot of jokes that fucking bomb and everybody's like, what the fuck? But that's when you double down on the goddamn joke and you make it really uncomfortable for everyone because then at least you get pleasure out of the joke bombing.
Right.
You know.
Well,
because we are both big believers in that. If something we do fucking falls short, we'll double down on that motherfucker. Oh, yeah. We'll like ensure that.
Well, because partially in our mind we're going, you don't get what I'm saying. Otherwise, you'd understand why this is funny.
Right.
And
well, on top of that, I was like, you know what? If you don't think this is funny, fuck you. I'm gonna put it down your throat.
Especially if it makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm gonna keep pushing this until you either break because it's entertaining for me at this point. Like I made this comment to get approval from everyone to try to be funny. You don't think it's funny? Now this is for me. I'm gonna get approval from myself.
Right. Oh God. Wow.
Yeah, like I upset my grandmother greatly one time when I was younger because I asked him. I went up to pay because my grandmother's very much about appearances.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to the counter at a Pizza Hut. I think I was 16, 17, and cut right in front. Like she was about to pay, and I came up beside her. And I said, "Oh," and she was looking for her wallet. And I don't know why I decided this. I was like, "Well, sir, we're a little short on cash. Can we pay for this in food stamps?" Oh my God. My grandmother was like, "Steven, you cannot." And I was like, "No, it's okay. Not we can't be embarrassed that we don't have the money to pay for the pizza. We just have to ask."
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course that guy got really uncomfortable because he was probably an 18-year-old. Like for me, he was older, but he got uncomfortable. My grandmother it was just a great situation.
Oh my God.
Or when gay stuff was way more shocking. Like I remember being out with somebody when I was in Columbia and fucking ate a cheese fry out of another dude's mouth. That was all. It was at the youth group thing too.
Oh, of course. Oh my God.
Yeah, shit like that.
Oh God.
You're tired. I'm
exhausted.
I'm stalling at this point
It's
just to
fine.
keep
It's
you on the
not bothering
microphone.
me. I'm getting
I know
a
it's
good
not
laugh.
bothering
It's
you.
just I'm exhausted.
When you want to call it a night, buddy?
I want to get your final thoughts. I notice you've not taken any notes.
I know because my whole thing is listening to you. I was here for you to talk
Sure,
about
is
your
that what you
vacation.
were?
Yeah, I mean, really, my final thoughts is never invite me on vacation with you because I will not fucking go. Not that you
Yeah.
would,
No, I wouldn't.
but it still astounds me that your idea of an enjoyable thing is okay.
Enjoyable once a year.
Okay, right.
Enjoyable once a year.
That would be enjoyable
for that
for me,
short amount. This
never.
is the longest one we've ever done. It's
Right.
usually been like 4 days and 3 nights or something like that. But
So what it boils down to is as many things as we have in common as far as worldview and hating things and our apathy towards everything. It astounds me with certain things that I would assume you would hate just as much as me, that you thoroughly, maybe enjoy is a strong word, but there's elements of it that you truly enjoy and look forward to.
yeah. I didn't enjoy myself the whole time I was there,
Right.
but there are absolutely parts of it that
And
I
that, my
enjoy.
friend, disgusts me.
But here's the other thing is like my siblings only occasionally really get on my nerves.
Right.
I enjoy hanging because we've all reached a point in our life where we can be honest enough to talk about the fucked up shit that we went through as
Right.
kids, and so we can all have a good laugh about
Right. Well,
it.
the thing is my sister and I get along fucking great. Like if we were just hanging out, I'm cool with it. You bring her kids into the mix,
Yeah.
and then my whole perspective changes. And it's because we have a very different view on parenting and a very different view on discipline. And I fucking can't handle it. And then you throw my other family who's hyper conservative Christian, like almost everyone on my mom's side, and all they're talking about is Jesus in church, and all I get is shit on because of my thing. And I enjoy that. Like I dig back at it, and I end up making, especially my Aunt Linda, I make her mad every fucking time because I'll be like, "Oh, would Jesus want you to do that?" Or she'll give her opinion like, it's ridiculous. I work as a nurse here and here and here, and he goes, and these white kids that are poor and come in can't get health care, but these Mexican kids that ain't got no social security number, we got to take care of them, and they're getting blah blah blah. I'm like, really? Would Jesus give them the medicine? Would Jesus care about they had a number issued
Right.
from our government? She's like, well, that's not what I was like, that sounds like it's what you mean. That you feel like that white people are better than Mexicans. Is that what you're telling me? Do you think Jesus thinks that white people are better than Mexicans? She was like, no, but this country is found. I was like, well, did Jesus found this country? Well, this is counted on Christian print. Was it founded on Christian? We had slaves from the very beginning of everything. Is that what Jesus would have wanted? Oh man, it's so easy. They won't even talk to me about it. My mom gets mad because I start talking about aliens.
Well, the thing about it is you're probably more studied on most Christianity, on most stuff in Christianity than most of them, or all of them really.
Yeah.
So it's you're one of the few people I know that can consistently, concisely, and thoroughly argue both sides of it.
Right.
Like
And
if someone is railing against Christianity, I've seen you do it before. Take the stance just to argue. It's
Well, because
great.
we both believers, like I'm a big believer in challenge, and I'm going to make this sound way more noble than it actually is because I really just enjoy it. But I also am a believer in having to fucking think about shit.
Yeah,
And when you get so because I know enough to know that I don't know shit, and I am always open. Like I am belligerent if somebody's throwing the same shit at me that everybody throws out. But if you have a different opinion that I have not heard, I have not processed, I have not thought about, I will listen to it and I will consider that I might be wrong. But like most of the time, especially with the whole church side of shit. Like, you can't come at me with something I haven't heard, thought about, listened to, studied, whatever the fucking case may be. So it's like, no, I can take the opposite side of that and show the disparity in a heartbeat. But yeah. But I have talked to a couple of people, like even recent, like we've talked about with all this BLM shit. I've had a few parts of my mind that I've honestly changed because it's angles I have not considered.
Yep.
You know,
same. But
and seeing
I mean, that's
shit.
part of being. It sounds like we're tooting our own horn, but that's part of being a human and being intellectually honest about things. If you can't consider the other side of something, then you really aren't being
right.
You're not being a good person, for one, but you're just not being intellectually honest.
And that's where most of my apathy comes from, because especially in such a political climate that we live in with the U.S. and everybody's so, you have to be Republican, you have to be Democrat, you have to, as far as voting and who you support. I'm like, why do you have to be any of those things? Like, because it's like, well, I'm going to vote for this person because even though I hate them in like 80% of the areas, this 20% is what I believe. And so I'm going to vote for him. It's like, why? Why the fuck? Like, why not burn it all goddamn down? And then we don't have to worry about the fucking political system, which is part of the problem that no shit can get done. And I have zero. That's the thing that infuriates. That's why I'm so apathetic. I was like, because it doesn't fucking matter. Like, my voting, whoever gets into power, like I said, right now with the two-party system, you're going to have the people that are the fucking same. And the agenda, the outcome is all the same, is more government control one way or the other. And both sides will placate to their demographic. Right now, all the conservatives are painting the BLM people as being like fucking looters and pushing a liberal utopian agenda to do away with Christian ideals and blah, blah, blah. And then you got the liberal people. It's like, well, these conservative people hate black people. They're all racist. They don't want this shit. But all they're wanting is their end game on both fucking sides of the spectrum. I talked to somebody not long ago and they got mad. It was actually, I think it might have been one of my aunts, but I was like, you realize that wanting to base U.S. law on Christianity is no different than Sharia law that you are adamantly against. I was like, one is Muslim based. I say Muslim based. One is Islam based.
Right.
One is Christian based. If you have a legal system based around any religion, it's going to discriminate and target a specific group of people that are different. Like, you want to enforce your beliefs on right and wrong and morality on these people, as opposed to what's the best overall way to get by and handle this that still allows people to make their own fucking decisions. And they're like, okay, we can all agree that murdering grown people with a life is wrong. We can all agree that you have something and I walk up and fucking punch you in the face and take it from you. That's wrong. Like, general things for the population. But if it comes to the fact, but people can't agree that a black person should be able to walk down the street at night and not be assumed that they're fucking going to rob somebody or get shot in the fucking back. Like, well, that doesn't affect me, so I don't fucking care. It's like, no, that does affect you eventually, and you're seeing how it's affecting people now. Anyway, that's my final goddamn thoughts, Joey.
Well, hold on a minute. So the last thing you just said was that their thought is that doesn't affect them, so why do they care?
Right.
So I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that about a lot of things.
Yes.
Okay.
But okay, the reason it says, but it matters, but it does matter because it will affect everyone else. It's a chain reaction, right?
Okay.
So like, people fucking driving like assholes. Traffic doesn't, like, until it affects me, I don't fucking care that people are doing what the fuck ever out there. But like with the black community, like when that shit happens and you start seeing this militant police force, like with what's going on right now with protests and shutting shit down, then it starts affecting everyone, right? And will me at some point as well. Not so much as an inconvenience standpoint, but I don't want my, like, you are my family, part of it. And like, I don't want to see your kids have to deal with some of that shit. You know what I mean? And I have some other people I know that are in that category. Like, my thought, for the lack of empathy that I have, but if like Lyric and Jude had to fucking go to school and worry about getting run down by a fucking cop, fuck that. Like, to me, that's that inflated sense of justice. Like, it might not affect me directly, but I don't like bullies. I don't like people getting fucked over. Like, if it's some stupid law, like an abortion law, fucking I don't care. Or the wage gap. I don't fucking care. But because you are in charge of your salary, right? Whether male, female, whatever. If you're good enough at your job, to a point, you can negotiate for that. Like, what you choose, you're choosing to accept that salary, right? getting an abortion. You pass an abortion law, it's fucked up. If you want an abortion, you can still find a way to get a goddamned abortion. Like the law sucks, but it's not victimizing anyone. Okay. Right. But with the shit, how the police force is sitting right now, like this is shit that people don't have a choice about. It's not like you're choosing to fuck your life up or it's putting a law out. This is just saying, hey, this shit's happening to these people. Like it doesn't happen to me, sure. But like fucking shit, it still can't mean it's like if I'm getting tongue tied. Like if a kid, like one of my kids getting bullied at fucking school, that doesn't fucking directly affect me, but I'm still going to tell my kid to punch the kid in the goddamn face and take care of it. And then I'm going to step in if I have to, because it's about somebody else getting victimized and they don't have a choice or control over it.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
No, sure.
You don't care at this point.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I'm so tired. I don't care anymore.
I know.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Anymore.
I'm saying you're playing devil's advocate, and I felt like I retorted rather well.
You did. That. I think that we should do an episode at some point where I challenge all of your
I'm good with
beliefs and thoughts. But it'll take me some time to actually, because I have to actually go through and prepare with notes
and
of
things that I've
said
you
say before.
And I will tell you right now, some of them are contradictory, and I'm a hypocrite. So, and I will own all of those things.
Okay.
And and even another thing, like with this, maybe it doesn't affect me directly, and maybe I'm caring more than I should, but it's making me angry and therefore affecting me. So, so there's that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You ready to sign off, buddy? It's fucking late.
Yeah.
It's a long goddamn episode now.
Oh, man, 121.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get up early.
Yeah, I'm driving the kids back to North Carolina. Thank fucking God.
You sound like a good dad.
I'm a great dad. When they're here, I'm a great dad. That doesn't mean I'm not happy when they're fucking gone.
Okay.
Okay, how's this? I'm a great dad. I'm not a great parent.
Interesting.
Yeah. When they're here, I'm present. I love them. I spend all the time with them. When they're gone, I'm glad they're fucking gone. And if I could, they would stay with their mom all the time. And I would just go visit a day or two every now and then.
I'm not sure how that translates into good dad.
Or did I flip that around? Maybe I'm a good parent, but a bad dad.
Maybe you flipped it around.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
In other words, I do my job the best I can do my job. But if I didn't have to do my job, I probably wouldn't do my job.
I got you.
Yeah.
And that's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
That's just so foreign.
Well, like my big thing is I have them, and like I want to take care of them, but I just don't want them to grow up to be like every other fucking asshat that's hanging out in the world.
I understand that.
So yeah.
Oh well.
On that note,
I'm going to bed.
I love you.
I love you.
Can I spoon you?
Sure.
All right. Care. I'll sneak in there between you and Krista.
You're gonna I'll be on the couch.
Oh, sweet, even better.
Fit in between me and the cushions.
So, am I playing jetpack or are we going fucking like dick to mouth, like 69 style sleeping?
Well, that's not spooning.
Well, it kind of could be.
No, you'll have to go jetpack.
I'm gonna call that.
But you're gonna have. I'm gonna call that ladling between us because if your skin touches me, I'll sweat my ass off at night, and I can't do that.
That's just lubrication.
Way too hot.
That's lubrication, man.
I'm way too hot when I sleep.
No, see, my new term is if you're sleeping fucking like balls to mouth or feet to head, that's ladling because I can scoop my head up underneath you. Or padlocking.
Yeah, you're gonna need a ladle.
All right, buddy.
Until next week.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.